Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over the dawn of DC, where we pick up with Poison Ivy issues number 13, 14, and 15. This is a three-part story arc that takes place right after DC's big summer event known as Night Terror. Now remember, Night Terror was this event where we had a new character known as Insomnia come to Earth, put everybody to sleep, and went through their nightmares looking for something called the Nightmare Stone. Now, Ivy was affected by that event, but when it comes to issues number 13, it's really trying to move on from that event and get back into the main storyline we had in this series. And so, we have to remember, at the end of issue number 12, Ivy came back to Gotham City. She has been gone for one entire year, but she realized she needs to go back to Gotham City for one reason, and that reason is Harley Quinn. She realized how much she loves Harley and she wants to be with her, because by this point in DC Comics, they're better known as one of the many power couples now in DC Comics. And so with her being back in Gotham, she begins to walk around the city to kind of remind her the different areas of the city. But at the same time, she can't believe that she came back here, because when it came to Poison Ivy, she left here on a very bad note with a lot of different people, especially the Bat family. And her goal was to never come back. But like I said though, she came back for one reason, and that reason would be Harley Quinn. Now, as she is walking around, she is confronted by Selina Kyle, Catwoman. Now, this takes place before Gotham War, but either way, when it comes to Selina Kyle, she's telling Ivy, hey, you know what? It's good to see you. It's great that you're back, but you should know that when it comes to the Bat family, they are looking for you. They already know that you are back in Gotham City. And let's not forget, there is some bad blood between you and Batman. And so I'm telling you now, you might have different members of the Bat family coming after you. Now, you do have Ivy ask Selina, okay, which member of the Bat family? And you have Selina say, oh, the entire Bat family is going to come after you now. Later. And so now she has another goal with her being back in Gotham. Stay away from the Bat family. If she is able to hide from them, then they should not be able to bother her. But unfortunately, this is Batman City. This man knows almost everything going on in this city. And so even though she tries to, stay hidden, unfortunately, right after Selina had left, Bruce shows up as Batman and begins to follow her. And so she has to run to a nearby park where she is able to use her powers to almost an extreme level to give her the advantage over Batman. And so this leads into their confrontation. Now, while you have the two characters about to have their conversation, I do want to mention one thing, because when it comes to Batman and Poison Ivy, they have a very interesting relationship. And what I mean by that is, for years, she was one of the many bad guys of Batman. But also, there have been some times where she had actually helped Batman fight against other villains. But on top of that, these two characters used to date. Not for a very long time, it was very brief. But the thing is, she was another love interest of Bruce Wayne, along with Talia al Ghul and of course Selina Kyle. But the thing is, it did not work out between them. And so for Batman, he's kind of like, listen, we got word that you were back in Gotham. And with you being back in Gotham, I had to make sure that you are not planning on doing something big that could affect the city completely. Now, with that being said, though, he does even mention the idea that, yes, there were times where we fought against each other. There were times where we had to work with each other. There were times that we were lovers. But the thing is, I really cannot trust you. But I'm going to watch you and give you a chance to prove to me that you are not here to do harm to Gotham City. And so he leaves. Now, after he does leave, she does mention that she does hate him a lot. And so once you have Batman leave, she realized that she does need a new base of operations. Now, when it comes to the base of operations, she wants it outside of Gotham City for a lot of different reasons. The main reason because of the Bat family. If the Bat family is going to watch over Gotham City, then her base needs to be outside of Gotham City, away from the Bat family. But on top of that, she wants to make sure that all her craziness of her life does not affect the home that her and Harley Quinn have inside Gotham City. And so she found a place called Slaughter Swamp. Now, when it comes to Slaughter Swamp, it's going to be her new base of operations, but not just yet. And the reason why, because when she does arrive, she does love the place, and she's all like, you know what, it's time for me to go ahead and move in. But unfortunately, she comes to find out somebody else already lives there. And we kind of find out it is Killer Croc. Now, Killer Croc is very upset about the idea that Ivy is currently in his house right now because he found his place first. This is his home. Now, when it comes to Ivy, she tells Croc, why don't you just go back to your old home in the sewers? And he says, I cannot do that because the last time you were here, Ivy, your plants went crazy and they have clogged up different areas of the sewers. And so unfortunately, my old home is no longer there. Now, it was another area that he was staying at, but unfortunately, that area is currently being redeveloped to build some new high rises for folks to live in. And so you have Croc say, you know what? If you want this place so bad, you have to help me out. If you are able to shut down the construction of the redevelopment area of downtown Gotham, then I'll be able to give you this place right here. Because you have Croc say, they are building high rises, but in reality, no one's going to live there. Instead, it's going to be a place where rich folks are able to put their money and other kind of things they own into those actual buildings. But in reality, nobody is actually going to live there. And so once again, the rich people are just taking up more areas away from the people who need it more, like middle class people or even the lower class people. And so as Croc say, if you help me, I'll help you. Get rid of those buildings and then this place is yours. And you have Ivy agree to the deal. Now, once she does arrive to the actual building, she realized that what Croc was saying is actually true. That this building is not going to be a place where people can live in and have a home. Instead, it's going to be a place where the rich can hide their wealth, and that's really it. Either way, though, as soon as she arrives, she's down with the idea of tearing down this place. Now, she does pretend to be a construction worker, and you have another worker there say, hey, let me go ahead and show you where you need to be at to kind of begin your job. Except when she does turn her head for a short period of time, that other worker disappears. And then out of nowhere, she hears a random sound. And so when she goes to check up on him, she finds him dead, but also a flower has grown outside of his mouth. And the question is right now, who killed him? And on top of that, could there be another plant-like person in Gotham City coming after Ivy? And so as we jump into the next chapter, we do pick up with Poison Ivy trying to figure out what happened to this construction worker. So she does pull out the flower. She realized, no, it's not a poison flower as a way to poison her, but also it could be a warning or it could be a villain leaving behind some kind of calling call. Either way, she realized that this construction worker died by someone who has the similar abilities as Ivy. And so she begins to walk around the actual building, hoping to find some kind of clues that could help her figure out who could most likely be behind this actual attack. Now, while she is doing that, she does find a piece of paper, really a flyer, on the wall, and it says Undine Holdings. Now, she does remember the name very well, but the problem is, though, she can't put a name to a face, and so she calls up somebody who could possibly help her. And so she calls up Janet from HR. Now, that's not her actual name. We haven't learned her real name just yet. But when it comes to Janet, we haven't learned a whole lot about the character, but we have learned a tad bit. But she is also another love interest to Poison Ivy, because in the earlier parts of this series, we saw her at first just being that person who was helping out Ivy, but as the two characters hung out even more, of course a bond grew between them to the point where they kind of like each other. And so we do have a very weird love triangle where you have Ivy trying her best to be there for Harley Quinn to help build up their relationship, but at the same time she still kind of have feelings for Janet from HR. Now, the reason why you have Ivy calling up Janet is because her phone is not working properly. So she is unable to access the internet, but she's hoping that with her calling Janet, who does have access to the internet, she'll be able to figure out who is this Undine person. And just like that, you have Janet tell Ivy, oh, his real name is Peter Undine. Now, when it comes to Peter, apparently Peter was somebody who was working under Lex Luthor. Now, when I say working under Lex, I really mean more of he was also a billionaire, but not on Lex level. But Lex did bring in a bunch of different billionaires into Gotham City in the middle of an event known as No Man Land. And that event right there, you had different billionaires or millionaires come in there and try their best to redevelop different areas of Gotham City. And Peter was one of them. Now, you did have Ivy say, hey, Janet, I need you to get a job with this actual company so that we are able to learn more about what Peter is trying to do with this particular building. And so you have Janet agree. Now, right after she does agree, well, that is when Harley Quinn walks in and she wants to have a brief conversation with Janet. Now, when it comes to this conversation, it's really more of Harley Quinn asking Janet to move out because, well, you can say for a lot of different reasons here. The main one I can see right here is that Harley realized that there's something special going on between Ivy and Janet, and Harley does not like that. And so it's her saying, I need you to move out so that I am able to rebuild my relationship with my loved one. Because Harvey and Ivy, they did break up temporarily, but of course the two of them were able to come back together. But of course, when Ivy came back to Gotham, she brought Janet along. Now, Ivy told her, like, hey, you know what? This is no one. She's a friend, and that is it. But Harley can tell that there was more to the story. And so it's her saying, hey, I need you to move out. And you have Janet agree that she should move out, but after she helps out Ivy one more time. But getting back over to Ivy, as she's walking around this building that's under construction, well, she does walk into one particular room. And when she does, this room is like all over the place. You have staircases on the walls. You got staircases upside down. You have so many different things happening all over this one particular room, where it's kind of like reality is just broken in here. Our reality is moving in so many different kinds of angles. And so you have Ivy leave the room. Now, after she does that, she's kind of wondering, okay, you know what? That was weird, but maybe the rest of the building is not as weird as that one particular room. Except she's gonna find out this entire building is actually some weird kind of building. But getting back over to Janet, you currently have Janet right now kind of, well, she secured an interview at least when it comes to Undine Holdings, the company that belongs to Peter Undine. She has not secured a job yet. Matter of fact, she's not going to, because when it comes to the person doing the interview, she believes that Janet is actually a reporter who is trying to get some more information about Peter Undine. And the reason why she thinks that, because there are a lot of accusations out there that is saying that when it comes to Peter and his redeveloped area, he's trying to hide a bunch of toxic waste that came from one of his steel companies or steel factories. And so when it comes to Janet, once she learns that, what Peter is being technically accused for, she's kind of like, okay, cool. At least I was able to get some kind of information to tell Ivy about. But the thing is, though, she does get kicked out of the building because, again, the lady who was doing the interview believes that Janet is actually a reporter undercover. In reality, she is undercover, but not as a reporter being undercover. Now, as you have Janet leave, that is the moment where she is confronted by Batman. And this really proves that no matter what, Batman is going to keep tabs on the people that he's most worried about. And that, of course, means Ivy. And so if you have any kind of connection to Ivy, he's going to keep a tab on you. And of course, that means for Janet. And so she does get confronted by Batman in the alleyway. Now, this is Batman telling her to leave. Like, not just leave Gotham, but leave Ivy behind. Let her out of your life, because if you stay as her sidekick, you're gonna get hurt. Or even worse, you could possibly die. But on top of that, you are helping out a terrorist. And so it's Batman saying again, leave, get away from Ivy. Now, Janet freaks out because Batman appeared out of nowhere and began to yell at her. Not yell at her, but kind of, do the whole Batman voice, which could be scary to some people if you do get confronted by him in the alleyway. Either way, you have Janet freak out, and she used her purse as a way to hit Batman in the face, and she runs away. Now, while she is running away from Batman, she is pulled from the side by Harley Quinn. Now, the reason why Harley is here, she tells Janet that she was watching over her because she realized that her and Ivy are very close friends. And if something bad happens to Janet in Gotham City, it would break Ivy's heart completely. Now, we could technically say that it's really more of Harley just watching over Janet because she does not trust her, because she knows there is something more going on between her and Ivy. Now, you didn't have Janet ask Harley a question about the idea of why it's so hard to figure out who is a hero and who is a villain. And you have Harley answer the question in one crazy way. Not really crazy, but more saying like, because every once in a while you have a hero or a villain switch sides. So sometimes a hero turns bad and sometimes a villain turns good. But the thing is, with them doing that here and there, it does make a lot of things confusing, which of course makes the world even crazier. Now, as soon as Harley says that, Janet kind of took those words to heart, kind of like, you know what? That was a very unique kind of way to look at the world. But with these two kind of bonding, it does lead into a kiss between Harley Quinn and Janet. So now Ivy's two girlfriends are now kissing each other. But getting back over to Ivy, she realized that she's unable to get out of the building, that no matter where she goes, reality is just changing left and right. The rooms are shifting left and right. The doors are as well. And so unfortunately, she is unable to get out of the building. But while she is running around trying to find a way out, well, that is the moment where she's confronted by our new mysterious bad guy who apparently is behind all of this mess that is currently going on in this building. And so as we dive into the final chapter of today's video, we do pick up with the same mysterious character talking to Ivy, and we kind of find out this new character is Peter Undine. Now, the way he is actually speaking is more the idea that somehow he was mutated into a plant-like character, but he also has a connection to the green. Now remember, the green is the plant life across the world that Ivy and some other characters have a connection to. Now, the reason why I'm saying that Homeboy here may have also have a connection to the green is because he's speaking in a way where he could tell the earth is screaming for help, that the earth is dying, the plant life is dying. On top of that though, with him being here with Ivy, he's kind of like, hey, you know what? You and I can be together. You and I can work together. You and I can help save the entire world. Now, when it comes to Ivy, she's not really down with working with other people unless it is Harley and also, of course, Janet. But also because she knows that Peter Undine is not a good person. He is a bad person, somebody she cannot trust. But she still wants to know what in the world exactly happened to him. How in the world was he changed into this plant-like character? And so he tells us that he created a new kind of metal. This metal is known as green steel. Now, when it comes to green steel, it has the ability to be very flexible. It also has the ability to heal itself. This is a very interesting thing. Here comes the problem though, because while you are trying to make green steel, it does leave behind a huge amount of toxic waste. Here comes the next problem. This toxic waste has the ability to change humans and animals' DNA. And so he wanted to hide this waste before word got out that what he had created. And so he did dump a huge amount of that waste in Gotham City and then try to build this building right on top of it as a way to hide it. But that was his biggest mistake right there, because like I said earlier, it has the ability to change humans and animals' DNA. But also it seems like the building became alive, because while they were trying to finish building this place up, it seems like different workers were just disappearing, and once they found them again, they were killed off. And the only thing that could kill them off is the actual building. Now, when it came to Peter, the building did not kill him off. Instead, the building changed him. And of course, it changed his DNA and turned him into a plant-like character. And so when we jump back to the present day, it's really more of Ivy wondering, okay, so now you told me your origin story. What does that mean for me now though? Like, are you going to let me leave? Are you going to kill me here? Like, what in the world is going on? And he says, listen, you walked in here on your own free will. But unfortunately, the building does not let anybody leave once they do walk inside. So technically, this is your tomb. You are going to die here. But here's the thing though. If you are able to convince me in the building to let you live, then you will be able to become one of his weapons when other people walk inside this building. And you and I can use our powers as a way to take out those people once they come inside the building. Now, when it comes to Ivy, she is not down with this idea at all. Instead, she's kind of like, no, I want to leave. But you have Peter say, unfortunately, again, you cannot leave. So I'm going to walk away for right now. When I come back, I'm hoping that you have rethink things over and being able to realize that it's probably better for you to go ahead and stay here to be a weapon rather than be killed off by this building. But then we have to jump back over to Killer Croc, because remember, in the earlier parts of this series, or the story arc, Killer Croc made a deal with Ivy. If she is able to get rid of the area that's being redeveloped, he will give her his new home as her new base of operations. And so she's been gone for a while. He's kind of worried. He's all like, you know what? Let me go ahead and try to find her, make sure she is okay. And of course, you have Croc head right over to the same building that Ivy and Peter are currently in. Now, once you have Killer Croc arrive in the building, like Ivy, he's now also stuck inside the building. But luckily, they were able to find one another. Now, once they do find each other, now their goal is to find a way to get out of the actual building. But the problem is, though, the building is technically alive. But Ivy realized, well, you know what? The reason why the building is alive currently right now is because of the toxin that was used to turn the steel into green steel. And so she realized she has to remove the toxin, or basically break it down to a weaker state so that she'll be able to take away the ability of the building being alive, but to also get them out of there as well. Now, the thing is, though, with their kind of breaking down the toxin to a weaker state, it could basically mean the building could fall apart. Because remember, when it came to Peter, he used the green steel as a way to build up this building. Because again, it had the ability to be very flexible and heal itself. And so now you are talking about the idea of this building no longer being green steel. And so now being a weaker state and being unable to actually stand up strong and tall. But you also have Ivy still want to save Peter's life because she realized that Peter was just a regular guy who made a huge mistake, but was trying to cover up his mistake, and unfortunately it led to him being mutated. But on top of that, she's kind of like, no, dude, listen. Even though you made a mistake, you're now part of the green. If you want to help protect the green, come with me and you'll still have that chance. But the thing is, Peter wants to die with the building. The building was a huge part of him. The building is the reason why he was changed into this plant-like character. But he's all like, no, I'm going to stay here and die with the building. And so you have Croc grab Ivy and they get the heck out of there. Now, once they do get the heck out of there, the building does fall apart. We're left to believe that Peter Undine is now dead. But the thing is, you have Croc say, well, you know what? At least you were able to accomplish your end of the deal, meaning that you were able to stop this building from being built and hopefully shut down the whole idea of this area being redeveloped. And so with you being able to accomplish your end of the deal, I told you I will give you my new home as your base of operations. And the story wraps up like that. And so with that being said, guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.